Hello, my name is Daryle Calder from CellRegen Hyperbaric Oxygen Chambers, Australia, and today I want to show you how to install a soft shell chamber. We offer a service where we can come out and install this, set it all up for you, but you can also just receive it and do it yourself. It's quite easy, it will take about an hour. In front of me I've got the boxes that you'll receive, the reclining chair, the framework, matting, the hyperbaric chamber and accessories, and the oxygen concentrator and generator. And I'll open all these and then we'll show you what's inside. Okay, I'm taking everything out of its packaging. The oxygen concentrator, the best way to do that is using a large screwdriver, pry that bottom section open as such, and then just use a hammer to knock that down. Follow that procedure right around the bottom. Then we're using a screwdriver just to leverage that up a little bit, and then we can slide that whole top off. So I've unpacked everything now. I've laid it all out in front of me. We've got the internal chair. We've got the hose connections, which connects to the chamber and the unit here. We've got the internal frame, which we'll put together shortly with joining links. We have two items that are vacuum sealed, and I recommend cutting them and opening them up first so they can regain their shape while we're putting the rest of the things together. The oxygen concentrator and compressor are out of the container. So this is a 100 kilo item, so you probably need some help with this, particularly taking it off the pallet, so just be careful of your back and safety. Down the bottom here you'll see two instructions. There's a cord here that secures the motors inside in transit, so you make sure you have to loosen that before you start that generator. So that's very important. You don't need to remove the cables altogether because it's good to keep them in place just in case you need to move it again at some point. And you only need to, if you're going to put it into a van or something like that, you need to retighten that so the motors don't jar. If you're just moving around the house, because it is on rollers, it's quite easy to move, you don't need to tighten that up. Then we've got the chamber itself, and then some gauges and baffles and things like that. So that's everything here. What I'm going to do now is open the two vacuum sealed units so allow them to regain its shape, and then I'm going to install or put together the frame just so you have an idea of how it works, because that is quite tricky how to do, and so I found the best way is to assemble it first, get an idea of the structure, and then you'll need to break it down slightly to put into the chamber. So I've partly assembled the frame, and I recommend you do this just so you get an understanding of how it is put together. It's a little bit confusing, all the different shapes, but once you're familiar with it, so it's a matter of, these are all numbered, so 1 fits into 1, 2 fits into 2, and so on. So these are the connectors are here. So to connect it, you just push it in, and that locks into shape, into place. To release it, you just push up, and then that frees. So I'm going to now remove those two end bars, keep this piece together and this piece together. I'll remove this section and keep that in one piece, and then I'll feed these into the chamber once I got it laid out separately, and that makes it a lot more easier to put it together. Okay, so at this stage I've just laid the chamber out flat. I've taken my shoes off because I'm going to be walking around the chamber and in and out of the chamber. So to protect that, take your shoes off. Now all the components come covered like this. So we're going around removing all of these components. There's protecting strips over the windows. We're going to be removing all those. We're going to be putting on gauges to make this airtight, and then connecting it up to the oxygen to the compressor to fill it with air, and that will enable us to put the frame together in the chamber. So the next stage is just taking all those components off. We'll make it airtight by putting the valves on, putting the silencer on, and then the next phase is to put the frame inside the chamber. I'll show you a close-up on how to put the gauges in, and then I'll also give you a close-up of how to connect the tubing. So now we're going to install the gauges. So they've got plumber's tape on it, but I would have some spare plumber's tape to make sure that it's tight enough. So it's just a matter of putting that in there. The blue one is the external, and you can see the instructions there so you don't get confused. And then there also is another gauge for internal. Okay, so now we're going to remove all this from the back and connect the hosing. So you'll see a larger hose and a small hose, the smaller hose being the oxygen hose, and this is the compressor hose. These fittings are just snap fittings, so that just goes directly into there and it snaps in. To release it, you just pull down the thing and it comes out again. So very simple, push that in there. Oxygen one goes in here. Now all you need to do to connect to the all-in-one unit, you just push that hose in. Small hose into the small connection, larger hose into the larger connection, and now this is ready to turn on, and we're ready to start inflating the chamber now. I've just laid down the all-in-one unit. There's some support behind that, so it's not directly on the ground, and I'm going to release these straps that are supporting the internal motors for transit. We spoke about that before, so it's just a matter of bringing that up and just releasing that. You can take them off totally, but I like to leave them on just in case in the future you do want to transport it somewhere. Just release that, tie those under, and now that's ready to start. So you make sure you never start this unit while those motors are still fastened, because that will cause damage to the unit. Okay, now I've got the partly assembled frame, and I'm going to start feeding them into the chamber. The chamber's been folded so it's flat and hasn't got its shape. So if you've got someone to help you with this phase, it'll make your life a little bit easier. But all you need to do is feed that in. And the other side, feed that in. Make sure all of the components are in the chamber, and then we're going to zip it up. I'll come back once I've got them in, and zip it up, and then we'll assemble it inside. So I've put all of the frame inside the chamber now, and what you need to do is make sure you put everything in there, because you're going to seal yourself in the chamber. So all of the cross beams, all of the joiners, make sure they're in there, the little baffle and the internal gauge, so we're making this chamber airtight. So they're already in there for me. I'm going to turn the unit on and it will start inflating once I've done the zip up. So it's just a matter of simple doing that. And I'm going to hop in and do the zip up. And then that will give me more room. Once it's inflated, it'll give me more room to assemble all the frame together. Okay, so all the frame is up. What I've done is, as I said, I've connected it, partially inflated the chamber, which gives me more room to fully assemble the frame inside. Don't forget to put the internal gauge on to make it airtight, put the air filter on, or the baffle to make it airtight. While you're in there, you can remove all of the plastic from the internal windows, and there's protecting units in there on the gauges and all that you can remove as well. So we're almost finished now. I'll just there's the matting and the chair to put in, and we're just about done. Okay, so now we're just putting the rubber, the mattress in the base. Just a matter of feeding that in. Okay, so that's in there, and then we're going to put the chair in next. Okay, so I'm sitting on the reclining chair, and I just wanted to show you this because there's an easy way and a hard way. So rather than, it's a ratchet system, so rather than turning around, pulling it, you can just sit here, pull the handles forward, and that will come into a different position. You want to recline it totally, you just recline it. Then you can just pull it up and relax in the chamber in this fashion. Okay, the chair is just easily slid in there. One more thing to do, we've got to put the roll bars underneath. So I'll grab those and we'll put them on. It's all ready to put the supports underneath. The supports are to prevent it rolling around while you're inside. It's another job if you've got someone to help you. It's easy with 2 people, but you can certainly do it on your own. It's just a matter of lifting the chamber up and feeding them in. And that chamber is all done. Zip it up and we're ready to inflate it. Make sure to remove all the protective film on the outside windows. And you're almost ready to use it.